There's really nobody that really sticks out in my mind that is having the kind of season that's going to tell me, all right, he's going to get a win.
It hasn't been there really since he ran the double.
He hasn't.
The team is kind of...
Yeah.
I don't feel like anything major has shifted or changed. It's just, you know, we're just starting to click off some decent finishes.
Welcome to the Backstretch. I am News 5's Heather Williams, and there are just 3 to go in the regular season when NASCAR heads to Watkins Glen this weekend. Another road course, which means most conversations have to stop and likely finish with Shane Van Gisbergen. His dominance on the road courses this year, winning all of them but one, really brings up an interesting question. Would you take Shane Van Gisbergen or would you take the field this weekend at Watkins Glen? And I'll be honest with you. I think Shane's going to win this race, but I also think I would probably take the field, and here's why. Watkins Glen is not like other road courses. It's not as technical, and speaking of that term, we're going to get into with our guest, Justin Haley, who's a pretty good road course racer in his own right, about what that actually means, because you hear that tossed around a lot, and I really wanted him to break that down. So just a little aside there. But it's more of a high-speed track. Chris called it a intermediate track. Some people call it the super speedway of road courses. It's more speed and muscle and a lot less finesse, a lot less quote-unquote technical. So it allows other drivers, lots of other drivers, to be in the mix for the race this weekend. Fascinating conversation about what might happen. We will talk about the road course ringer in SVG. We will also talk about a big win for William Byron and which drivers are in trouble and which drivers still have a chance to win and get in the playoffs or to point their way into the playoffs, as I mentioned, the regular season. Quickly, racing to a close, just 3 weeks left. I alluded to it. Our guest this week, Justin Haley, back for a second time. I love having him when we talk about road courses because he is such a good road course racer. Even though maybe sometimes his finishes don't show it, he knows how to perform on those kind of racetracks. And also, we'll just talk a little bit about the pressure, right? I mean, he's a guy that needs to win and get in. So, great conversation as always with Justin. Let's get going. Joining us now is our crew chief, Chris Carrier, who also happens to be the crew chief of the number 75 Boot Country Truck in the Craftsman Truck Series. Yeah. William Byron gets his second win of the season at Iowa Speedway, his other win coming at Daytona. With just 3 races to go in the regular season, he retakes the points lead by 18 points over Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin, also holding on to a small bit of hope for the regular season title. So how does the championship for the regular season play out over the next 3 races?
Heather, I think this is going to put Byron on a kind of a little bit of a run. I think they're the top team. That I think they're probably, if I'm putting myself in their shoes and looking at things through their eyes and their glasses, I would be like, okay, I want to get ready for the playoffs. I want to hit it running with some momentum. They won a race at Iowa, which is it's kind of a place I wasn't surprised because Rudy Fugle and his guys, I think that the chemistry of that team, I think Rudy is really good at knowing his driver. They've been together long enough now to where I think he has a good understanding of what makes William Byron go. And they have good race cars. They have a lot of resources. They have everything they need to be exceptional. And I think William Byron may take this and go. They've got some places coming up here that he can be exceptional at. And, I would say he's the favorite. Chase Elliott is right there. He's been very steady. Steady may prevail. He may run top 10 the next 3 races, and Byron may win another race, but a crash or something or a parts failure or whatever could have him make a couple of bad finishes. But I think it'll be between those 2. I'm looking for Kyle Larson to gain some momentum.
Yeah, they've struggled in the summer.
I just, I don't know what really is. I don't know what really is going on there. You know, he ran good Sunday. You keep looking for him to come up and do a Kyle Larson type race where he just goes and just kicks them all in the teeth, or wins on the last lap by running the top groove and making some dirt track looking pass for the win. And it just hasn't been there.
No,
so
it hasn't been there. It hasn't been there really since he ran the double.
He hasn't.
The team is kind of...
Yeah, Dale Jr. made a comment about that. I believe when they were in Mexico, he made a comment about the fact that Larson just hadn't been the same since he went to Indy. Is that a coincidence? Probably. I don't know. I don't know, but I keep looking for that team to like catch that spark and get back in the game like they should. It makes me scratch my head a little bit. You know, I keep looking at the Penske teams too, waiting for them to like come to life. And I noticed they had 3 of them in the top 4 spots at one point during kind of late in the race in the latter stages, and then the 22 was 22nd or something and running.
Well, there were a lot of teams, because of the way the strategy worked out on Sunday, that either got caught on the wrong strategy or had to stay out far longer than they intended on tires and fell off. Because the Penske teams were one of them that were top 10 teams all race, and then all of a sudden ended up in the 20s. The Spire teams also, with the exception of Hocevar, did the exact same thing. They were all running up front, and then tires fell off at the end because of the long run. But I think that speaks to the skill of William Byron, because he ran longer than everyone else and was still able to keep people behind him.
I think that speaks well for him as a driver, to be able to manage his tires, brakes, et cetera, over a long run, keep the pace, keep the speed, and still have some after, you know, this many laps and that many laps and this many laps longer, like you said, than everybody else. And it also says a lot for his crew chief and his race engineers and all the people that prepare his cars, because the car was set up well. The balance obviously was really good. Their strategy as far as how much camber they ran all the way around and so on and so forth, and how it made the tires last was right on point. So that's kind of a William Byron type race, and at a racetrack that, you know, really, Heather, that place is really, really difficult. It is a rattlesnake of a place for the drivers, and they probably enjoy it, and it's probably the same thing for the crew chiefs. I can tell you that. It's hard to plan for, it's hard to plan strategy, it's hard to really predict how your car's going to be, or truck, and if we ever go back there, and so on and so forth. But you know, it's fun for the driver. A lot of the crew chiefs, it's not so fun for. You know, they're you know. But it was a William Byron type race. I'm not surprised, and what I'm looking to see now is does this momentum take charge and take him on into the playoffs? You know, I'm sure they want to win the season championship, the regular season championship. Now they're in control. If they have good races coming up, they probably will. Yeah,
and I agree with you. I think it's down to those two. I think it's down to him, Chase. I think the other guys are just too far back at this point with 3 races to go. So on the other end of the spectrum, you have Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, and Chris Buescher holding on to those final 3 playoff spots. Those are the 3 that don't have wins that are still in the playoffs. Ryan Preece is 23 points out. Kyle Busch, 73 points out. Are these the guys that get into the playoffs? Do you think we might have one or more new winners?
I don't, Heather. I mean, you may have a better idea than myself, but I don't. There's really nobody that really sticks out in my mind that is having the kind of season that's going to tell me, all right, he's going to get a win.
No, but then when you look at the tracks that are left, you have Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona. Right,
which are somewhat wild card races.
Richmond less so, but the other 2 definitely, because you look at a Watkins Glen, they haven't run that way necessarily lately, but you would think that A.J. Allmendinger would have a chance to win at a place like that.
You would think. That's true.
You would think that the guys like Michael McDowell is another one that could win at Watkins Glen. He could also
He's a
win
good road racer.
He could also win at Daytona. Austin Dillon has more than once got a walk-off win at Daytona. And then you look at, there's other guys like Todd Gilliland that runs well at Daytona. Noah Gragson, that's a pretty decent road racer. So you look at the overall performance and you say no, but then you look at the tracks that are left and the drivers that are good at those tracks, and I would say we're probably going to have at least one.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't surprise. To be honest with you, nothing would surprise me, really. I mean, that Kyle Busch dude, I keep, you know, trying to, you know, wondering when's he going to come out of this quandary he's in, this slump, this you know, this very uncharacteristic Kyle Busch type year and a half or 2 years or whatever it's been now, or 3 years or something, that's like, wait a minute, what, you know, I keep, you know, in.
But don't you think that if he wins, it's going to almost have to be Richmond?
I
given
think
the tracks
probably
that
so.
are left?
I think probably so, and I'm not, let me tell you something, I would not bet, if I was a betting person, and I'm not, but if I wouldn't go out here at the casino and bet my last $10 or even my middle $10 that he's going to win a race at all, I don't see the chemistry, the equipment, the desire, the everything it takes to win a race, especially in the Cup Series. And now all those guys that you just mentioned a minute ago, plus some more, that, you know, they're going to be looking for their chance to go out and win a race. And those guys are going to say, like Michael McDowell's team, they're going to say, we got a good road racer, and he's a really good speedway racer too. Richmond, okay, maybe, but we got two good chances here, and man, this is it. We either get a win or we're not going to be in the playoffs. So
you know who I'm really looking at that we haven't talked about yet, who I think is running the best of any of them, I mean the guys that are right there on the outside, is Brad Keselowski. If the strategy plays out a little bit differently, he wins Iowa. He had the best car at Iowa.
Absolutely.
And he has gone from being 30th in points at one point to now he's 18th or 19th in the points. Like, that team is coming. And I think if you look at the guys that are on the outside looking in that need to win, I actually think he has the... Now, this weekend, it's probably not going to happen on the road course unless they use some crazy strategy. That's just not his thing.
True. Strategy could.
Richmond and Daytona are both great chances for him to win.
Brad's run really well at Richmond off and on throughout his career. He's had some success there, and he's also had success in the Busch Series, or not the Busch Series, the Xfinity Series. It is the Busch Series, actually.
It'll always be the Busch Series.
It will always be the Busch Series. And, you know, his career, he has been, in my mind, one of the best speedway racers we've had. If you look back over like the last 15 years, I mean, at one time the guy was like almost, you couldn't beat him because you couldn't pass him. If he got in front, he was a master at that. So, you know, Heather, there's still too many cookies in the jar to know that, okay, we know who's going to be in the playoffs. That is way far from the truth.
This week, we head to Watkins Glen. I know that you're going there with your truck team as well. Very excited to be back at the track. Speaking of good road racers, your driver is one of them for sure. So, good road course driver you have. Obviously, you guys have become a good road course team as a result. What can drivers expect from this particular track at Watkins Glen?
Watkins Glen is way different than any other road course we run, NASCAR series runs, let's say, because of this. It's basically very dominant right-hand turns to start with, and it's very fast, really all the way around the racetrack. We call it, Watkins Glen is like a intermediate track, meaning something like Charlotte, Texas, Atlanta, Kansas, those type tracks. 1.5 miles. Michigan is the same thing, 2 mile. An intermediate track, not a speedway, but not a short track, not a 1 mile, but an intermediate track somewhere where you run a lot of speed. You still have to decelerate. Some of those places you use a pretty good amount of brake at some of those type racetracks, but the speeds are very high. Entering the corners, you carry speed, there's a lot of momentum, there are long straightaways. Watkins Glen is that, which makes it a very aero-dominant racetrack, even for a road course. A lot of people say, that guy's crazy. No, there ain't no road course. Aero doesn't mean nothing. You could take a body off and run the same. No, not at Watkins Glen. Everybody you talk to is they're very, 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 put a lot of energy and a lot of concentration, a lot of details into aero. And it's, you know, a lot of, you use downforce and side force around both corners, both top corners. Again, they're very, very much aero dominant and right-hand dominant. So it's very much, you use a lot of brake, slowing down, and then you're off the brake for good periods in between most of the high brake corners. You've got times for those brakes to cool. That's not always a good thing, because if you cool them too much, they shake. You know, like when a driver gets on the brakes and tries to stop, they'll shake. That's because the pad material won't burn off the rotor. There's not enough heat long enough for it to burn off the rotor, and it gets embedded a little bit in the rotor, and then the pad, the next time you try to use the brakes, the pad won't adhere, it won't stick to the rotor, it won't slow the rotor down like it should. So it's hard on the driver. It's hard, no, I'm sure it's hard with the Cup cars knowing exactly what kind of package they want to use for cooling. And they try to give the driver fans on, fans off, so on and so forth to, you know, give him some adjustment in there to say, okay, hey, my brakes are shaking or something. Well, turn the fans off. Don't blow those things. And the caution, don't cool them as much, or even on the straightaways or whatever. And if they start getting a little brake fade, that's because they're too hot 90% of the time. So hey, get them fans on, get out from behind somebody and get some air to those brakes, let them cool some more. Watkins Glen is tough for that. It's tough. So you'll see a lot of that. There'll be some pit strategy. There always is on road course. They'll be playing the races back, kind of, and they'll be like, when do I pit? If I pit now, can I go to the next window and try to cut out a pit stop during that race? And that's huge on a road course, on any series. We'll be trying to do that Friday, trying to figure out a way to say, okay, how can we be on pit road less than anybody else? Because it still is pretty hard to pass. So I love Watkins Glen. It's a beautiful area. It's a great racetrack. I love road racing myself. My driver loves road racing, so that makes it even better. And I think the weather, is supposed to be good, all weekend. So, and if it's not, they'll run in the rain. So anyway, be some good racing.
I will start with this. You and your team seem to be on a bit of a roll now. I know you didn't get the finish you wanted last week at Iowa, but you guys ran basically in the top 10 all day. Do you feel the energy? Do you feel the momentum for your team as we kind of head towards the playoffs here?
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely stepped it up a little bit from where we were in the kind of late spring, early summer there. So yeah, we've been gelling well together. Obviously, it took some time after all the changes, but yeah, I feel like we're competitive now, and we've had some good speed the past few weeks.
Is that the biggest difference? Just everybody figuring each other out?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just so much that. It's just attention to detail on how you're communicating and things, right? And then just understanding and me understanding changes to the car. Obviously, you're not going to bring a perfect car to the racetrack every weekend, and no one's car is perfect. So you're just trying to make the best changes as possible to develop that, and it starts early in the week in sim too. So yeah, just kind of get an understanding of what works for all of us, and yeah, going from there.
It does seem, though, like you guys are bringing faster cars to the racetrack. I mean, you've qualified, what, 10th last week or 11th, somewhere around in there. That probably, I mean, I don't know, but that seems to make a difference as well, because it feels like starting position is so important these days.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I think our cars have had speed. It's just trying to extract it and trying to get me comfortable to be able to extract it. So yeah, like I said, I don't feel like anything major has shifted or changed. It's just we're just starting to click off some decent finishes, get a little bit better position in the metric, and that helps a lot. And yeah.
So you're not necessarily a guy that people think of right off the bat when we go to road courses, but you are a good road course racer. Are you excited about this weekend?
Yeah, I've had some decent finishes at the road courses, and I feel comfortable at them. It's just trying to figure out, um, again, what works for us. Obviously, I haven't been to Watkins Glen with this team, and they were super fast there last year. They had three inside the top 10. So, yeah, I feel confident about it. Just got to, like I said, get through practice, make good changes, and keep track position throughout the race.
I think there are a lot of fans that think that a road course is a road course is a road course, but they all have their own personality. So, what makes Watkins Glen different or a challenge compared to some of the other road courses?
Yeah, Watkins Glen, it's an easier road course, right? It's kind of like a super speedway. There's a lot of grip, newer pavement, and you're just trying to handle as much speed through the corners as you can. So, yeah, it's definitely probably the least technical road course we go to, and you need a really fast car. So that's always helpful. But yeah, it's still tricky to get around, and there's still places where you can lose and make speed.
We have a lot of people that listen to this that maybe aren't huge like gearheads. When you say least technical, what does that mean for a driver?
It's just high speed, and yeah, the minimum speed's not a lot, and there's just a lot of grip in the pavement. So yeah, you don't have to hit your apex every lap. Sometimes it's faster almost not to hit it, just carrying more speed. So yeah, I feel like Mexico was really technical. Coda's pretty technical. There's some tracks that we go to that just require a lot of finesse, and I feel like Watkins Glen is one of those racetracks where you just kind of manhandle around the circuit.
So we've got what, three races left to the playoffs start. What's kind of the goal for you between now and then?
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to improve. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but I feel like we're in a good place now, and we just keep building and trying to kind of get all of our stuff together to finish off the season strong.
You're also going to jump in the Xfinity car. It was announced yesterday at Daytona. Is it nice to, I know you ran a couple truck races earlier in the year. Is it nice to drop it down and just run those races that you're just going out to win? There's not sponsor pressure or that kind of stuff, just to kind of have fun on in those lower series races?
Oh yeah, you enjoy them. It's always fun to be a part of them and kind of have that stress-free race. This one with colleague has actually been in the works for a while. Just happened to be that I was in the 11 car, but it's been something we've been planning for a long time. And yeah, I enjoy racing for Matt Colleague all those years. So I'm excited to be back with him.
For my final thought today, I want to talk about my friend Chris and all my friends over at Henderson Motorsports. As we talked about a little over a month ago, the patriarch of that organization, the founder of that race team, Charlie Henderson, passed away. It's really tough for that organization and for Charlie's kids, who have been involved in the racing operation for quite some time, even though Charlie kind of still continued to be the face of the organization. A lot of talk, a lot of rumors floating around there that they might not race anymore after Charlie died, but I can tell you that was never the case or the plan. They always had planned on continuing racing. And this weekend, for the first time since Charlie's passing, they are back at the racetrack. Their driver, Parker Kligerman, loves road course racing, is one of the best road course racers in the truck series, has a win at Mid-Ohio on the road course a couple years ago in that 75 truck. And I think this is a great place for them to come back, a great place to honor Charlie's memory. And they're going to run, basically the rest of the year, tracks that were important to the team or to Charlie. So the road course, the Roval at Charlotte, Bristol, of course, and Charlie's favorite track for some godforsaken reason. I don't understand it, but Charlie always loved Talladega. And Charlie and Parker got their first win together at Talladega several years back. So a fitting tribute to round out the season for Henderson Motorsports for Charlie. And it's just good to see them back at the track. I think this team needed it. I think they needed to work towards getting back there and to go out there and just do this without Charlie, because it is so emotional and so tough for them. So I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but obviously I work with them a lot, and I can consider a lot of those folks that work out there my friends. And so I wish them a ton of luck this weekend as they try to maybe go get one for Charlie. Thanks for joining us on the Backstretch. We'll see you next week.